The galactic chamber was silent, save for the faint hum of an ancient starship engine buried deep within the orbiting station. Towering holograms of alien council members, gleaming scales, crystalline visages, and fluid-like forms circled. A single projection in the center. It played on a loop, each replay leaving the assembly in stunned disbelief. The footage was simple yet baffling. On the barren world of Vixlor, a lone human in a patched survival suit stood before an enormous, multi-jawed predator known as the Zrithax, a creature feared across the galaxy for its unrelenting savagery. The Zrithax loomed, a shadow of death, drooling acidic saliva that sizzled against the cracked earth. The human did the unthinkable. They laughed, not a nervous chuckle or a panicked giggle. It was a full-bodied, contagious laugh. They doubled over, clutching their sides, as though the universe's deadliest predator were some kind of cosmic joke. The Zrithax hesitated, its 6 glowing eyes narrowing in confusion. Then it happened. The creature sat back on its haunches and tilted its monstrous head and emitted a sound that could only be described as a gargling attempt at imitation. The human laughed harder, and so did the beast. Within moments, a creature that had once decimated entire ecosystems was rolling on the ground, mimicking human humor. The footage ended abruptly, leaving the council in disarray. "They disarmed a Zrithax with laughter?" hissed Xyloth, a serpentine elder whose scales shifted colors in agitation. "This must be deception, a biological weapon, perhaps." "It is no weapon," replied Kyreth, a crystalline diplomat. Their voice resonated like chimes in a storm. "Our analysts confirmed it. Pure, unaltered human behavior. Humor, a concept we have never accounted for." Another alien, a spindly figure with limbs like liquid metal, leaned forward. "This cannot be allowed to spread. If humans can disarm through illogical means, they pose a threat far beyond physical warfare. They must be studied and contained." The murmurs rose in intensity until a hologram of Supreme Arbiter Taris flickered into focus, her translucent form casting an eerie glow over the chamber. "Enough," she commanded. The room fell silent. "Humanity is anomalous," Taris admitted, her tone unreadable. "This is not their first display of defiance against logic or control. We have underestimated them before, and it has cost us. Prepare an envoy. We must understand this species, or they will become our undoing." In the corner of the station's chamber, unseen by the council, a small human ambassador listened through a hidden transmitter. They smirked, quietly muttering to themselves, "If they think humor's dangerous, wait until they see karaoke." Night. The Haven 7 orbital station, humanity's interstellar embassy, floated above the scarred surface of Vixlor like a solitary beacon of resilience. It wasn't the most sophisticated structure. Its modular design and patched hull bore the marks of centuries of adaptation and repair, yet it was distinctly human. Practical, enduring, and alive with energy. Captain Elias Verne, the station's lead diplomat, paced nervously inside the briefing chamber. His uniform was immaculate, but his tousled hair and weary expression betrayed his unease. Across from him stood Lieutenant Aisha Patel, head of security, whose sharp gaze flicked between the holographic reports hovering over the table. Both were fixated on the latest footage sent by their field agent, a Zrithax, subdued not with firepower or tactics, but with humor. "It's like they've never seen laughter before," Elias muttered, his voice tinged with disbelief. "That's because they haven't," Aisha replied, swiping through files. "The Galactic Concordance doesn't understand humor. They view emotion as primitive noise, a distraction from progress." Elias leaned against the console, rubbing his temples. "And now they think we're dangerous for cracking jokes." "Wonderful," Aisha crossed her arms, her expression darkening. "It's more than that, Captain. They've labeled us an anomaly. To them, unpredictability equals threat. This isn't a cultural misunderstanding, it's a diplomatic crisis. On the other side of Vixlor's orbit, the Council of the Galactic Concordance convened within their imposing station, the Elysian Aegis. Unlike the human structure, this station was a masterpiece of alien ingenuity, seamless, luminous, and devoid of any unnecessary adornment. It reflected their values, order, logic, and perfection. Supreme Arbiter Taris presided over the meeting. Her translucent spectral form emanated authority, though even she seemed unsettled by the latest reports. Around her, representatives from the Concordance's dominant species debated fiercely. "We've catalogued over 1,000 sentient civilizations," began Xyloth, the serpentine elder, his scales pulsing in agitation. "Yet none behave as irrationally as humanity. They embrace chaos and thrive within it," added Kirith, the crystalline diplomat, their voice echoing like wind chimes. "Their ability to weaponize humor, an abstract concept, is deeply concerning." The council murmured in agreement. Another representative, a massive beetle-like figure named Vrikor, clacked their mandibles. "If their unpredictability cannot be contained, it will destabilize the Concordance. They must be studied or eliminated." Taris raised a spectral hand, silencing the room. "Humanity has defied us before. They survived the Clivran blockade, outwitted the Uller fleet, and turned barren worlds into thriving colonies. Now they tame creatures like the Zrithax with laughter. We can no longer ignore their threat." A vote was cast. The decision was unanimous. Humanity would be summoned to answer for their actions. Back on Haven 7, Elias and Aisha watched as an encrypted message from the Concordance blinked into their communications array. Elias read the transmission aloud. "Human delegation, you are hereby summoned to the Elysian Aegis to account for humanity's anomalous behavior. Refusal to comply will result in severe repercussions." Aisha scowled. "Severe repercussions? That's Concordance speak for annihilation." Elias sighed, slumping into a chair. "We're not in a position to refuse. If we don't show, they'll assume we're hiding something. And if we do show, they'll put us under a microscope," Aisha countered. "Either way, we're cornered." Elias stared at the blinking message, his mind racing. Humanity had faced insurmountable odds before: hostile environments, alien invasions, and even their own self-destructive tendencies. Each time they had endured, not because of superior technology or numbers, but because of their resilience, ingenuity, and sheer stubbornness. "They don't understand us," Elias said finally, a flicker of determination in his eyes. "That's their weakness." Aisha raised an eyebrow. "Care to elaborate?" "They see us as chaotic, unpredictable. That scares them. But they've never faced a species that uses its flaws as strengths. If they want to study us, fine. Let's give them a show they'll never forget." The Elysian Aegis loomed large as Haven 7's diplomatic shuttle approached. The human vessel, a patched-up relic from Earth's early interstellar days, looked like a scrappy underdog against the alien station's pristine, monolithic architecture. Elias, Aisha, and a small team of hand-picked delegates disembarked, stepping onto the polished floors of the Concordance chamber. The atmosphere was stifling, a blend of sterile perfection and oppressive silence. Alien dignitaries lined the hall, their expressions unreadable. Taris materialized before them, her translucent form flickering like an otherworldly flame. "Humans," she intoned, her voice cold yet curious. "Your presence is noted. You stand accused of destabilizing the order of the galaxy with your anomalous behavior." Elias stepped forward, his expression calm but resolute. "With all due respect, Arbiter, humanity doesn't destabilize. We adapt. What you see as chaos, we see as creativity. What you fear as unpredictability, we embrace as possibility." Taris tilted her head, her gaze piercing. Your words are clever, but they do not explain your actions. The Zrithax incident, for example. How do you justify taming a creature of destruction through irrational means? Elias smiled faintly. We didn't tame it. We connected with it. Humor isn't irrational, it's universal. You just haven't figured that out yet. The council murmured, their voices a mix of skepticism and intrigue. Taris silenced them with a wave of her hand. If what you say is true, then demonstrate. Show us what makes humanity so unique. Elias exchanged a glance with Aisha, who nodded. The captain turned back to Taris, a mischievous glint in his eyes. Be careful what you wish for, Arbiter. Humans have a way of exceeding expectations. The stage was set. Humanity's fate hung in the balance. The Concordance Council chamber, vast and imposing, buzzed with alien dignitaries eager to witness humanity's demonstration. The sheer scale of the chamber dwarfed the human delegation, making them appear insignificant among towering, crystalline columns and rows of floating alien observers. Yet Elias Werner stood tall, his calm demeanor masking the adrenaline coursing through his veins. Lieutenant Aisha Patel whispered beside him, Are you sure about this? They're not here to be entertained. Elias glanced at her and grinned. That's the point. They'll expect seriousness, logic. Let's show them what happens when humanity steps off the script. Supreme Arbiter Taris's translucent form hovered above the gathering, her voice resonating with authority. Humanity, you claim your humor is a strength, a tool of connection. Yet to us, it is chaos, anomalous and dangerous. Demonstrate its value, or your species will face the consequences of destabilizing the galaxy. Elias stepped forward, his voice firm yet approachable. Humor isn't just jokes or laughter, it's perspective. When faced with the impossible, we laugh, not because we're foolish, but because it reminds us that even the direst situations can be overcome. A ripple of skepticism passed through the council. You speak in riddles, human, hissed Xyloth, the Serpentine Elder. Words are insufficient. We demand proof. Elias motioned to a small device his team had prepared, a portable hollow emitter. When activated, it projected a comedic skit performed by AI-generated human avatars, a humorous take on an interstellar customs officer trying to interpret the bizarre contraband of alien travelers. The avatars exaggerated their confusion, misunderstandings, piling into chaos, only to resolve with mutual laughter and understanding. The room was silent at first. Then a strange, warbling sound erupted from one corner, a crystalline diplomat's attempt at laughter. It was awkward, jarring, but unmistakable. Kyreth tilted their head, their chime-like voice ringing softly. This humor is an emotional exchange. Elias nodded. It's how we connect. It breaks barriers, even when words fail. The council remained divided, some intrigued, others unmoved. But Taris's spectral gaze remained fixed, her expression unreadable. The Arbiter raised her hand. Words and simulations mean little without action. Let us revisit the Zrithax. At her signal, a massive containment field activated at the far end of the chamber. From within the shimmering barrier, the Zrithax emerged, its towering form, and razor-sharp jaws eliciting gasps from the alien audience. It growled, its 6 eyes scanning the room until they locked onto the human delegation. Aisha's hand instinctively hovered over her sidearm. Are they seriously putting us in a cage with that thing? Elias raised a hand to calm her. No weapons, just trust me. Taris spoke again. The Zrithax is uncontrollable, a force of destruction. Your prior encounter was dismissed as an anomaly. Prove to us it was not. The containment field shimmered open, and the Zrithax stepped toward Elias, snarling. The chamber held its collective breath. Elias did something shocking. He sat down, legs crossed, and began humming a tune. The Zrithax paused, its growl faltering. Elias then leaned forward and started telling a joke, a simple human anecdote about a stubborn cat refusing to acknowledge gravity. His tone was calm, his gestures animated. The Zrithax cocked its massive head, its glowing eyes narrowing. A low rumble began in its throat. The alien council tensed, mistaking it for a growl, until they realized it was mimicking the human's tone. Elias continued, his voice steady. "And then the cat looks at me like I'm the fool, and it jumps sideways. Who even does that?" The Zrithax made a noise, a strange, guttural mimicry of human laughter. It lowered itself onto its haunches, tilting its monstrous head as though waiting for the next part of the story. The room erupted in chaos. Alien dignitaries exchanged frantic whispers, their disbelief palpable. Kyrith's crystalline form trembled with amazement. "The creature understands?" Elias stood and addressed the council. "Humor isn't just about making noise. It's about connection, even with something as alien as the Zrithax." Before the council could respond, alarms blared. The chamber's lights dimmed, and a booming voice announced, "Unidentified vessel detected. Potential. Hostile intent." The council panicked, their orderly meeting devolving into chaos. Taris's form flickered, her voice sharp. "This is your doing, humans. Did you summon reinforcements?" Elias frowned, exchanging a glance with Aisha. "Not us. But if something's here, it's not friendly." The chamber's shields activated, but reports flooded in. The unidentified vessel, a rogue faction hostile to the Concordance, was using technology that bypassed conventional defenses. The aliens scrambled, their advanced systems struggling to counter the intrusion. Elias saw his chance. "Let us help," Xyloth sneered. "Your primitive technology is no match for this threat." Elias smirked. "Maybe not, but we've got something you don't. Improvisation." With Aisha's help, Elias commandeered the Concordance's communications array, reconfiguring it to emit a high-frequency signal. Using knowledge of human networking protocols and ancient Earth radio frequencies, they managed to disrupt the rogue vessel's control systems. The rogue ship faltered, its weapon systems going offline. The council watched in stunned silence as the humans, using what appeared to be outdated technology, neutralized the threat. Aisha turned to the council, a triumphant grin on her face. "Sometimes it's not about having the best tools. It's about knowing how to use them." As the chamber settled, the council reconvened. Taris's flickering form addressed the human delegation, her tone measured. "You have done the impossible twice today, taming the untamable and defending the undefendable. Explain, humans. What drives you?" Elias stepped forward, his voice filled with quiet resolve. "It's not our technology, our strength, or even our humor that makes us unique. It's our resilience, our ability to find light in the darkest moments, to adapt when the odds are against us, and to connect even with those who seem beyond understanding." Taris's gaze lingered on him for a long moment. "You are unlike any species we have encountered." Kyrith chimed in, their crystalline form shimmering. "Perhaps humanity is not an anomaly, but an evolution, a species unbound by logic alone." The council murmured in agreement, their perception of humanity shifting from suspicion to something akin to awe. The stage was set for the decisive confrontation, but one thing was clear. Humanity's greatest weapon was not its technology or strength, but its unyielding spirit and ability to find connection in the unlikeliest of places. The atmosphere in the chamber was electric, the tension palpable. The Council of the Galactic Concordance, once dismissive and skeptical of humanity, now watched with a mix of awe and apprehension. The demonstration with the Zrithax and the neutralization of the rogue vessel had proven humanity's adaptability and ingenuity, but the true test was still to come. Supreme Arbiter Taris, her translucent form flickering with an uncharacteristic hesitation, spoke again. Humanity has shown resilience and ingenuity. Yet these traits alone do not justify your actions or your survival within this galaxy. To determine your place among us, you must pass one final test, a test of your essence. Elias Verne stepped forward, his gaze steady. What kind of test? Taris extended her spectral hand, and a shimmering holographic map of the galaxy appeared. At its center, a swirling, unstable energy field dominated the display. The Nexus Rift, a chaotic anomaly at the heart of the galaxy. It threatens to destabilize countless systems. Our most advanced civilizations have failed to understand it, let alone control it. The Arbiter's gaze sharpened. You will navigate the rift, find its source, and neutralize it. Succeed, and humanity will be acknowledged as a force for stability. Fail, and you will be remembered as a threat extinguished. The room fell silent. Aisha Patel broke the tension, her voice firm. That's suicide. Elias looked at her, then back at the Arbiter. We accept. The human delegation, now aboard their retrofitted starship, the Resolute, sped toward the Nexus Rift. The ship was a patchwork of human and alien technology, hastily upgraded to withstand the unknown chaos they would face. The crew was tense, but determined. The rift came into view, a swirling vortex of energy and light, its tendrils reaching out like malevolent fingers. Instruments went haywire, and the ship's AI struggled to maintain stability. Status report, Elias called. Out, Aisha. At the helm grimaced. Shields at 60% and dropping. We're not even inside yet. Elias took a deep breath. We'll have to rely on manual navigation. Aisha, take us in. Keep the crew steady. As the Resolute entered the rift, the ship was bombarded with chaotic energy surges. Gravity fluctuated wildly, and the crew had to secure themselves to avoid being thrown about. The view screen flickered, showing impossible landscapes, fractured worlds, cascading rivers of light, and ancient ruins floating in the void. This isn't just a natural anomaly, Aisha said, gripping the controls. Something created this. Elias nodded. Let's find out what. As they ventured deeper, the ship's systems began to fail, and the crew faced mounting challenges. Life support fluctuated, and power to critical systems dwindled. Morale dipped, but Elias rallied the team with a speech that echoed through the ship. We've faced worse odds before. This rift isn't just chaos, it's a puzzle. And humanity's greatest strength isn't technology or strength, it's our ability to think differently, to find solutions where none seem possible. Stay focused, and we'll make it out of here. There, ingenuity was put to the test when the ship's engines failed. Using knowledge from Earth's early spaceflight days, they repurposed outdated manual thrusters, using the rift's energy surges to propel them forward. Each member of the crew played a role, their collaboration and resourcefulness shining in the chaos. The rift's energy began to coalesce into a single point ahead, a massive crystalline structure pulsating with power. That's the source, Aisha said, her voice steady despite the awe in her eyes. But how do we stop it? The Resolute docked precariously on the crystalline structure, and Elias, Aisha, and a small team ventured inside. The interior was a labyrinth of glowing corridors, pulsating with energy. At the center, they found a control nexus, a throne-like construct surrounded by shifting holograms. Standing before it was an alien figure unlike any they had encountered. Its form was fluid, shifting between solid and light, its voice a blend of multiple frequencies. You are human, it said, its tone both curious and disapproving. Why have you come? Elias stepped forward. We're here to stop the rift. It's destabilizing the galaxy. The figure's form shimmered and it seemed to laugh, a sound that echoed with menace. The rift is not a force of destruction. It is a test, a filter for those who seek to control chaos. You would not understand. Elias's jaw tightened. Then explain it to us. The figure hesitated, then gestured toward the shifting holograms. The concordance fears chaos, yet it is the seed of growth. This rift separates those who embrace uncertainty from those who cling to order. Humanity is at a crossroads. Elias nodded, his mind racing. If that's true, then humanity belongs here. We thrive in chaos. We find hope in impossible situations. The figure tilted its head. Prove it. The control nexus activated, flooding the chamber with unstable energy. The team was thrown into a simulated environment, a fractured version of Earth, caught in the throes of apocalyptic disasters. Fires raged, storms tore through cities, and the ground cracked beneath their feet. The team had to work together, using their ingenuity and empathy to navigate the chaos. They rescued simulated survivors, stabilized crumbling structures, and found moments of hope in the destruction. Elias's leadership shone as he inspired the team to keep moving forward. The alien figure observed silently, its form flickering with intrigue. You do not seek to control chaos. You adapt to it. This is unexpected. As the simulation ended, the team found themselves back in the control chamber. Elias stepped forward, his voice firm. Chaos isn't something to fear. It's something to understand, to work with. That's what makes humanity unique. The figure paused, then extended a glowing hand toward the nexus. The crystalline structure began to dissolve, its energy stabilizing into a calm, radiant glow. You have passed the test, the figure said. Humanity's resilience is its strength. The rift will no longer threaten the galaxy. Back on the Resolute, the crew watched as the Nexus rift transformed into a stable star, its chaotic energy dissipating. The ship's systems began to normalize, and cheers erupted among the crew. Elias leaned back in his chair, exhaustion and relief washing over him. Aisha clapped him on the shoulder. You did it, Captain. Humanity's not just surviving, we're thriving. As they returned to the Concordance, the Council awaited them. Taris's spectral form appeared, her gaze uncharacteristically respectful. Humanity, you have succeeded, where countless others have failed. You have proven your place among us. Elias bowed slightly. We didn't do it alone. Chaos is part of life, and life is about connection. The Council murmured in agreement. Their perception of humanity forever changed. The rift was gone, and humanity's reputation as a resilient and innovative species was solidified. Yet as Elias looked out at the stars, he knew their journey was far from over. Humanity had earned its place, but the galaxy was vast, and its challenges were endless. The future awaited, full of chaos, opportunity, and hope. The Resolute docked back at the Elysian Aegis, its patched hull bearing the marks of its perilous journey through the Nexus rift. As the human delegation stepped onto the council floor, a hushed silence fell over the gathered aliens. Their once skeptical and dismissive gazes were now filled with something new, respect and perhaps a touch of awe. Supreme Arbiter. Taris's translucent form materialized at the center of the chamber. Her voice, once cold and commanding, now held a note of genuine curiosity. Humanity, you have done what no other species has accomplished. The Nexus rift has been neutralized, and its chaotic energy has been transformed into a stable star. Explain how. Captain Elias Verne stepped forward, his uniform singed and his face weary but resolute. We didn't defeat the rift by overpowering it. We embraced it. Chaos isn't something to be feared. It's part of life. It's where creativity, connection, and growth happen. We adapted, worked together, and found solutions where others saw only impossibility. The Arbiter regarded him in silence for a moment before speaking. You are unlike any species we have encountered. Where others see destruction, you find opportunity. Where others falter, you endure. This is both admirable and disconcerting. Xyloth, the serpentine elder, hissed softly. Their unpredictability is their strength, yet it remains a potential threat to the stability of the galaxy. Kireth, the crystalline diplomat, chimed in, their voice melodic. A threat or an ally? They have shown us the value of adaptability. Perhaps the Concordance has more to learn from humanity than we realized. Taris raised a hand, silencing the chamber. Humanity has proven its worth not only through action, but through philosophy. Chaos, tempered by resilience and ingenuity, is not destruction, but transformation. The rift is proof of that. The Arbiter turned to Elias. Humanity will no longer be regarded as an anomaly. You will be granted full membership in the Galactic Concordance, with all the rights and responsibilities therein. But know this, your unpredictability will be watched. Elias inclined his head. That's fair. Just remember, when you face the impossible, sometimes unpredictability is exactly what you need. As the human delegation returned to the Resolute, there was a tangible shift in the air. The alien dignitaries, once dismissive, now approached. Then with questions, curiosity, and even admiration, Aisha Patel, walking beside Elias, smirked. You realize we've just made humanity the galaxy's most talked-about species, right? Elias chuckled. Better to be talked about than ignored. Back aboard their ship, the crew gathered in the observation lounge, watching the newly stabilized star where the Nexus rift had once been. Its light was calm and steady, a stark contrast to the chaos that had preceded it. A young engineer spoke up. Do you think the galaxy will ever understand us? Elias leaned against the railing, his gaze fixed on the star. Maybe, maybe not. But understanding isn't the point. What matters is that we keep being who we are, resilient, creative, and unafraid to face the unknown. Aisha raised a glass of rehydrated earth whiskey. To humanity, may we never be boring. The crew laughed, their voices echoing through the lounge as the star's light bathed them in its gentle glow. Back in the Concordance Council chamber, Taris addressed the gathered representatives. Humanity has shown us that chaos is not our enemy. Their survival, their triumph, was not through superior technology or brute force, but through qualities we have long overlooked: humor, connection, and the ability to adapt. Xyloth hissed softly. They remain unpredictable. Indeed, Taris replied, but perhaps that is what we need. A species unbound by logic alone, capable of finding solutions we cannot fathom. The Arbiter's gaze swept across the chamber. The galaxy has changed today. Let us ensure we change with it. As the Resolute departed the Elysian Aegis, its crew looked toward the vastness of space. Humanity had taken its first steps into true galactic acceptance. But they all knew this was just the beginning. The galaxy was vast, its challenges endless, and its mysteries profound. Elias stood on the bridge, staring at the stars. We've earned our place. Now it's up to us to prove we deserve it. Aisha joined him, leaning against the console. And when the next challenge comes, Elias grinned. We'll face it the way we always do, together. As the ship's engines roared to life and the Resolute vanished into the void, the newly stabilized star burned brightly behind them, a symbol of hope and transformation. Humanity's journey had only just begun.